guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Norwich match preview. So Sunderland do take on Norwich this weekend, Saturday, 3 p.m. Of course, trying to continue the high, trying to continue the momentum after that amazing comeback victory last weekend against Swansea, that 3-2 win there, which was, of course, fantastic. I'm sure that the lads were absolutely flying in training this week. There's been quite a lot of sort of Christmassy content on the Sunderland YouTube channel, and all the lads just seem to be in such a good place. I know, regardless win, lose or draw, this group of lads, they do seem to have a really good connection anyway. So it's always nice to see, regardless of where the lads are in the league and stuff, it's nice to see them having a laugh and the bond and the connection and the sort of the synergy between the lads. I know it's a very young group, and they're having a laugh on social media or on the sort of YouTube platform with the Sunderland YouTube page and doing different challenges and different games, and it's really good, wholesome content. It's obviously a lot easier to digest when you come off the back of a win like we did last weekend, but of course we are going to be focusing on Norwich in this video. But first and foremost, I just want to quickly bring something up. I noticed something over the last couple of weeks. I'm getting the odd comment here and there from videos from like weeks ago, like really old previews or reviews from people saying, you know, Joel, I can't believe it's been, I haven't seen one of your videos in ages, or it hasn't popped up on my feed, or how come you haven't posted for so long? And for those of you who do follow quite regularly, I'm posting quite regularly my reviews and previews against to pretty much every single Sunderland game that I physically can. But what is happening, it seems, from a few people I've spoke to, it seems that my videos aren't coming up on people's YouTube feeds. So this is why I've been asking quite a lot recently for you to hit the like button as much as possible, because the more interaction we do get, it puts it into the algorithm. I think because it's a bit of an older channel now anyway, YouTube does kind of leave out the algorithm. But yeah, even people who are subscribed, it's not showing up on the feed. So if you could do me a massive favour, of course, firstly, if you're not subscribed already, subscribe and hit the like button for me if you enjoy the content. It really does mean the world. It's quite frustrating when I'm making these videos and some people that are even subscribed, it's not showing up on their feed. So yeah, if you could do that for me, that'd be massively, massively appreciated. But enough of that stuff. Let's get into this weekend's preview. So of course, like I said, we take on Norwich. Norwich last time out, they got beat 2-1 against Burnley, and Norwich, I think, played fantastically in that game. Really good press. They were beaten by a fantastic goal. I think it was Fleming who scored, and a Brownhill winner as well. A couple of goals in fairly quick succession to turn around what was a 1-0 lead from Norwich, and they played really well. You know, possession-wise, held onto it quite well. Like I said, the press was really good, and I like their front line anyway with Borgia up top. A really good player, really exciting player. And they do have a good sort of young mixed squad as well. So it's just their inconsistency. I say this every time we play a mid-table team. I think from the early October, they had like a 7 or 8 game winless run, although they ended that sort of drought with a 6-1 win against Plymouth. So again, like I say all the time, which Norwich is going to show up, we'll have to wait and see. But historically, we've seen that we do generally struggle against teams that try and hit us with a high press, and they maintain the high press. If they only do it for the first couple of minutes and we weather that sort of storm, if you will, that's when, and you know, and then start to back off, that's when we take control of the game. But when it's teams that really get at us and in our faces, we tend to panic, and that's why we need to be at the races. We can't start like we did against Swansea, where we're very sluggish on the ball. When they're pressing, we just panic and just give it away at the first given opportunity. We really need to take care of the ball, and we need to be sharp. Because the thing is, I know it sounds really simple, but when you come up against a team with a high press, all it takes is a quick triangle to beat their press, and then you've got acres of space. But if you're panicking on it, you're too slow and sluggish, and no one's showing for the ball, and they want to quickly get it into tight areas and turn, then you're going to struggle, and you're not going to get a foothold on the game at all. So we need to be prepared for that. And they are a good side anyway, as I say. So regardless of whether they do the high press, they've got ammunition to hurt us, absolutely. Now, the pre-match presser from Regis Labrie, he was asked about injuries, and there's nothing really updated. However, I have seen, no updates to injuries, but I have seen on photos of the training this week and stuff, and Poveda looks like he's back on the grass, as is Sealt, which is nice to see. I didn't see Sameed, but that's maybe expected. I think he is going to be early January for me now, which is a shame, but I think that's just the way it's going to work. He was asked about Luke O'Nien. Of course, he did come back into the game on last Saturday against Swansea. He came on for Sirkin, and he went at left back, and then immediately we went and turned the game around, didn't we? I'm not saying that's directly from that. I think he might take a bit of credit from that, but I can see why he did it, for the energy of Luke O'Nien to give us the ability to bring the ball forward and carry it forward from defence, which we didn't really have before. He was asked if Luke O'Nien is now going to be starting again, and he kind of just said, well, we'll have to see. Just because he looked good there doesn't mean he's going to start type thing. That was kind of the sort of, that's what I gleaned from what he was saying basically. So I've got a feeling he isn't going to start Luke O'Nien. However, if it was up to me, I would, and not just because I'm a big Luke O'Nien fan. And I actually got a comment earlier this week. Someone was adamant that I hate Dan Ballard just because in the previous last game I said I wanted to start Luke O'Nien over Ballard. Now, I just want to quickly explain this. So, my sort of hierarchy of defenders or centre-backs for us, or at least the top 3 defenders, I think Mepham is head and shoulders our best centre-back. Then it's Dan Ballard, and then it's O'Nien. However, although I think Dan Ballard is technically a better defender than Luke O'Nien, I think as a whole and to fit our system, Luke O'Nien is better than Dan Ballard, which is something I didn't think I would say maybe a couple of years ago. But I think he is. He suits the system to a T. Dan Ballard is generally a good defender, as is Luke O'Nien. Very, very good defender. They're actually a lot closer than people think. Although I do think there's a lot more potential with Dan Ballard, of course, with his age. And also I do just think he has that sort of no-nonsense defender style in him. But Luke O'Nien has he has so much ability on the ball to carry it forward, to begin attacks. His distribution out wide, his diagonal balls are second to none at times. And we miss that. And when we don't have Luke O'Nien at the back, we struggle to start from the back, which I know we don't need to do, but so many of our attacks do start with Luke O'Nien to bring it forward, to carry the ball forward, to make the opposition midfielders commit, then the spaces in behind for Dan Neil to then turn. We didn't really have that when it's just Ballard and Mepham, who are relatively old school defenders. Mepham's not too bad at balls in behind, dropping balls in behind for Mayenda to chase or Isidore to chase. So I'm not saying both Mepham and Ballard can't play with the feet. It's just O'Nien is infinitely better. That's what I mean. So for this system at the moment and the way we're trying to play, I would just feel more comfortable with Luke O'Nien there. So in my sort of preferred 11, I might stick Luke O'Nien there. Whether I don't think he's going to, but that's just my point. So for people saying that I hate Dan Ballard, that's so far from the truth because I'm a massive Dan Ballard fan and I think he's an outstanding defender. I just think, well, I've just explained my case. I hope you all understand. But yeah, I'm going to go into my preferred 11 for this game, and it feels like I'm being somewhat contradictory with some stuff I've said in previous reviews and previews because I've been saying I don't want to see Mayenda on the left-hand side, but I can't think of an alternative now because he's never going to put Roberts out there. That's never going to happen. We're not going to see how she start. That's never going to happen in my opinion. Isidore, I think because he's our top scorer, he has scored, and it's not like he's not making any chances at all, Isidore. He's getting chances, he's not putting them away. So I think he will probably stick with Isidore up top and Mayenda out wide. And I think it will just be pretty much like for like what we saw at Swansea. But I'll put up mine on the screen, which is pretty much the same thing anyway. But I'll put up mine. Here it is. So we have Sirkin, O'Nien. I've just forgot that I didn't put Patterson in goal. I didn't mean that. Patterson in goal. Although he did have a bit of a shocker at times, didn't he, at Swansea? But he's going to be in goal, isn't he? Sirkin, O'Nien, Mepham and Hume across the back. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it will probably be Mepham and Dan Ballard. Dan Neil in the middle there as the anchor. However, I would like to see Dan Neil from the off with that same energy he's had over the last couple of games against Bristol City and against Swansea. When it hits like the hour mark and things aren't quite going our way, he has this sort of fuck it attitude of I'm going to do this, and he drags us up. I want to see that from the off because he's remaining not quiet. That's probably unfair, but in that sort of anchored role, I feel like it's just got chains on him. Do you know what I mean? He is just anchored down quite literally, and he can't show his real ability. And going forward, it isn't bad, but because he's got this sort of role in his mind of is so concentrated on when he's trying to go forward, he probably thinks in the back of his mind, oh shit, I'm supposed to be just in front of the back four here, so we'll kind of go sideways, and that's what we've seen a lot throughout the season. But the last couple of games, he's really dragged us forward, and it's such tenacity and aggression in his drives forward, and I want to see that from the off. Of course, not leaving himself exposed and leaving us exposed in that sort of final third, but when it's safe to do so, ask questions of the opposition, get at them. Don't just do your sideways, simple, safe passes. Get at them, because we can see and we've seen that he can do it. Dan Neil, so I'd love to see that from the off. Job, I thought I think they all had a terrible game in the first half, but he grew into it for me. His size, his aggression, and again, tenacity, again, it's the same word. It is valuable, particularly in games like this. Rig as well, I think he's someone who probably may need a rest, but given that they've had this full week to train now, I'm quite comfortable in leaving him there. Now, up top, as you can see, I've said East does go out wide. only because Mayenda, I just think he's so uncomfortable on the left. Technically, I would want Eastor up top. But Mayenda, he started off the season very well. He's probably gagging to go straight up top again. I don't think it's going to happen. But Eastor, he can play on the left. I've moaned before in the past, a couple of months ago, when we started shipping Eastor out wide, when he's been our best striker. But at the moment, when he's going through a bit of a goal drought, and my thinking behind it as well is that because he's got this goal drought, and what he's doing at the minute, because he has got a goal drought, he's sort of, every time he gets the ball, he's trying to force a shot at goal. He's just clamouring for that next goal, which is fine. That's a striker's instinct. But we need to get him on the ball earlier, I think. So doing that and putting him on the left wing, he'll get on the ball earlier, because otherwise he starts to get a bit desperate when he's up top because he hasn't scored in so long. So that will give him the opportunity to get on the ball a lot more. That's my sort of thinking behind it. And also, as I say, Mayenda's so uncomfortable on the left, and I don't think he's poor, but he's just not great on the left and visibly uncomfortable. Roberts on the right, there's no one else, and Mayenda up top, down the middle. So yeah, that would be my starting 11. I've probably made that very confusing with the explanation and rambled on far too long, but that's just me. But let me know in the comments down below who you would go with. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, for my score prediction. I do these off the top of my head, by the way. I just sit here for like 2 seconds and just think. I don't have this prepped or anything like that. It's screaming a draw for me, but I am going to go for a 2-1 win, and I think it is going to be another comeback. Obviously not as crazy as a 3-2 comeback against Swansea, but I do think they're going to get an early goal, and then they might sit. And that's when I think we are going to start prodding and poking, and we'll get a couple of goals in the second half. I think Chrissy Riggs going to get one, and I think Eastor is going to get himself a goal as well, which would be amazing for us. And we'll see it out to make it a 2-1 win. So that is what I'm going to go for. Sunderland 2-1 win. But that is everything, guys. Again, let me know who you would go with in terms of your team and your score predictions as well. Let me know in the comments. It's always interesting to read all of your comments. But that'll be it for now. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new. But for now, take care. Stay jammy. However, lads.